In the 1820s, African Americans were forced to cake on outlandish amounts of makeup and parade around like clowns in front of an all-white audience. These were called minstrel shows. Their purpose was to belittle the idea of what African Americans were, as well as suggest a lack of talent. In the 1790s, Sarah Bartman, also known as the Hottentot Venus, was paraded around naked in front of another all-white audience. This time, the purpose was to belittle her purpose and animalize her features. In the 2000s, Gucci Mane stood in front of an integrated audience this time, saying, "Treat her like a dog, feed her like a dog, beat her like a dog, then pass her to my dog." This time, in order to, what? I don't know. Joining him is lyricist Tyga, who states, "Rack City bleep." What? Play that back? Rack City bleep. "He must not be talking to me." Then there's the oh-so-smooth lyricist, Miguel, saying, "I don't want to be loved, I don't want to be loved. I just want a quickie, not me." Is this really what we want to embody? It's like the music flows in on the segue of the beat and then impregnates itself into our minds with cognitive dissonance. This time, is it not just African Americans who are being oppressed, but every generation, every nation, and every creed? Are we chaining ourselves? Are we chaining our minds by belittling the institution of love that is not just universally, but intergenerationally accepted as one of the highest successes in life? Are we chaining our bodies by accepting this misogyny? And are we chaining our very selves by giving in and submitting to the ideas that these people have placed on us? We must be cognizant and mindful of the lyrics that are being said. The path we are on is not blazed by our Spelman ancestors. Instead, it is a traveled path that leads to destruction of our character and integrity. As students of Spelman College, it is essential that we take part in activism regarding misogyny and violence against music. We are indebted to make a choice to change the world. And sometimes that change needs to start with a ripple effect at home and work its way out to the masses. A few activists would like to speak on this.
I think mostly songs that have like really sexually violent, explicit language in them, and that doesn't necessarily mean like all ratchet music is bad per se, but there is a difference between, I don't know, a song that's talking about turning up and a song that's talking about busting somebody's vagina open. So I think a big problem too on this campus is that a lot of people think that these songs are played and they don't really make a difference and they actually don't have anything to do with the students. But I feel like if you have a vagina that can be busted open, then people in the songs are talking about you. And so I think we need to be concerned about ourselves, and if not even ourselves, then at least our sisters.
You wouldn't know that it's misogynistic on, your first listen, but it comes through educating all of us and us raising our consciousness and kind of letting go this allegiance to artists and corporations who really don't care about us. So yeah, there are particular songs such as those.
Spelman College now has a DJ contract to refute the misogynistic music. DJs must register, sign a proposal, submit, go to a DJ orientation, as well as submit a playlist of what they intend to play. This is great for Spelman College, but what about the rest of the world?
So, should Spelmanites be active and in what ways? So, with regard to the music policy, that policy was developed last semester, including a variety of faculty, staff, and students. And basically, the policy developed out of the fact that we had a number of students, faculty, alumni, guests to the campus that would arrive and hear the music that is really believed to be a bit misogynistic, denigrating to women, and we're a women's institution. And so in public spaces, the policy was developed to really reflect the fact that we are a women's institution, that we do have a mission that states that we nurture and support students.
I really think that as a Spelman College student body, and also actually as a Spelman College community, we all need to stand in solidarity about certain issues. And I do not understand why people do not see the urgency or the issue with having music that degrades women, objectifies women, and that is violent against women on an all-women's campus, especially a black women's campus, because of the history of the violence that we have had throughout our journey. So I think that if people do not take a stance, they will be standing on, I guess you could say, the wrong side of history, which is allowing things that degrade us as a people to be allowed in our space.
And just kind of like Beverly Guy-Shefta always says, like, it's very difficult to teach women how to be feminists when you live in an anti-feminist environment like we do. So I think if students don't stand up for basically themselves, then we'll all just fall.
If people don't take a stance on, you know, something as, or what would seem a small issue as the music, 10 years from now they'll say we never cared. You know, we'll hear songs like, you know, popping a Molly, putting in her champagne, having sex with her and she didn't even know it. You know, we'll go back and say, well, why didn't people care enough to say anything about it? We were experiencing those same type of like violent reactions from everyone else. And so I think that when those types of things happen, people have to be willing to understand, willing to let all that they are comfortable with, be willing to kind of relax those and understand how we can decolonize ourselves and our spirits and our minds to quite really understand what is it exactly that we are internalizing, and why is it that we really can't see the problems with what we're being fed. So I think it comes with listening to each other, sharing our testimonies and stories with each other. I think that's like a really big part of activism.
All of these ideas and more are possible. Let's think of this in different terms. Let's think of misogyny as cancer. Cancer is caused when a cell malfunctions, causing it to exponentially reproduce itself and cause danger. Misogyny is like this cancer. It exponentially reproduces the memes of our mind and then penetrates the way that we think. My only question is, how do we cure it?
I think that people should definitely try to participate in events that raise consciousness, and also participate and actually do exploring on their own about why music is such a controversial issue, especially degrading music in the Black community and also on our campus in general.
I think people should be active in, I guess, a lot of different ways. Like, not everybody is really, I guess, a really vocal freedom fighter, like I guess the women behind me. Like, not everybody really wants to be on the forefront, but I do think that students should definitely, even if it's just, I guess, like retweeting something that is inspiring, or like retweeting something that maybe someone said against, I don't know, misogyny in music or something. Like, maybe they don't have to make the tweet, but at least supporting it, because I think a lot of people want to support things, but they just remain silent on like an issue because they're worried about what people are going to say or think or whatever. But just like Audre Lorde says, she says, you know, your silence will not protect you.
So my job is to support students as they are engaging in active behaviors to bring about change. Activism, I believe, is extremely important. It's one of the reasons why I am in higher education administration. My job is to facilitate students knowing the resources, the policies, the practices, understanding the structures, the governance of an institution. And so when I see students actively engaging on campus, I think that is obviously very powerful.
Above is a petition several students wrote in protest. Though the petition was met with great controversy, there are many other things that can be done, as long as we do something and just not sit. Some are hesitant to act. People say that it does not matter what you listen to because it inevitably is just music. Just music caused the petitioning Spelmanites, the women just shown, to be called many gruesome names and several other inappropriate slurs. Those phrases are not just innate. They derive from some position or negative source. Perhaps they are being socialized by their beloved music, which states and promotes sex and violence. Perhaps it has drifted so deeply in their minds that subconsciously it navigates the way that they respond to others, and they don't even know it. It is no longer a question of if, but how we will execute it and how far we will go to ensure that these changes are made. We used to be an institution that would protest, walk, petition, anything we needed to do to ensure that the change was made. Now, we objectify ourselves. We give in to these ideas of misogyny, and we give in to these men who embody the ideas that are said. The words are like an oral instruction manual for our abuse that we let resonate into our bodies, into our psyche. What would they think? What would they do knowing that all of their hard work was in vain? And really, what will we do now? As women of Spelman College, we must make the activist pursuits. It is now our time to make the choice to change the world.